bum. Good evening, YouTube. How's it going? Another Tuesday night live with here in the Ozarks with yours truly, Patrick with MT Knives. Another week come and gone. How's everybody doing this week? I got a shiny head. Need to move my lights. What are we going to talk about tonight? The last week, nothing crazy spectacular happening. Been doing a lot of administrative work. I hate that. I wish I could hire it done, but maybe one day. So we got a mail call. My buddy, Derek Melton from Melton Forge Works sent me some stickers and is this a sticker too? I'm blind, can't see. Let's see. There we go. There's Derek's information. DerekMelton.com, his Instagram, TikTok. He's on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. No TikTok for yours truly. So anyways, he made this nice little Sparky plaque, and he made it, and I reached out and said, I need one of those for my shop. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually told him, I said, send me the file. I'll print that on my printer. And he instead just like, I'll ship it to you. So he's a nice guy. Anyways, reminiscence of the lineman days, little Sparky. This was a actual like image from, I don't know when, but back in the days to like help teach kids like electricity is dangerous. So whatever. I thought it was pretty cool. I got to find a nice place for it. Maybe I stick it up on the wall there. But, what else? How's everybody doing this week? For those who don't know, I am training for a marathon. Not knife related, but hey. This is a Hangout live where we're going to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Unless you guys want to talk about something different, you can drop it in the comments. But I've been training for a marathon. Sunday, I did 11 miles. I'd say run, but I'm slow, and there's a lot of walking involved. So it's always fun trying to build back up. I always hated running. And I actually, in the early days of being married, like I'd see somebody running, tell my wife, I'm like, look at that poor individual, has nothing better to do with his time. And here, look at me now. I definitely have, well, I guess I don't have anything better to do with my time. Because our priorities change, right? Like mindset, priorities, what's important to you. What do you make time for? So, that's something I was listening to today was, talking about mindset and mental toughness and stuff. And mindset, the way we think dictates the way we act. And it's funny. I think we should always be in a constant state of reflection and improvement where we're looking to become better people, better individually, more Christ-like. There was a sign on the way to Kansas City a farmer had put up on a side of a trailer. It says, "Are you a producer or a parasite?" And then it said, "Democrat Party of the Parasite." I'm not much into like the whole political thing. It's funny because actually somebody tried to burn down his trailer, or they didn't try, they did. I think they knocked it over first, and then I think they burnt it. But yeah, they must not have appreciated the message. But that's stuck with me all these years. Like, it's a good question. Are you a producer or are you a parasite? Do you contribute to society or are you a taker? Are you a giver or are you a taker? Anyways, just talking about mindset, improving who you are and how we decide. The way we think translates to how we act. How we act then changes our priorities. So, yeah. So now I'm one of those guys that have nothing better to do but then to go spend hours running, trying to become a better version of myself, I guess. Honestly, it's for my, I guess, I hate all the, oh, know your why, but my why is because you're always improving or deproving. How do you like that? Deproving. We're always making progress forward or we're losing progress. There's really no steady state of being. What is that? Entropy. Entropy. The world is in a state of decaying, dying and decaying. So, yeah, I guess running is just, or staying physically active just kind of helps slow that process down and gives it overall a better quality of life. I want to be healthy for my family, for my children. I was just reading in Proverbs and it says, talks about a wise man increases strength. And I don't know how many times I've read that and it stood out to me this week. A wise man increases strength. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to be wise. What else? What else? Who's in there? Who's in here today? I'm losing subscribers. I looked at my statistics and it said I've lost 10 subscribers in the last month or whatever. It's all right. You know what? If you don't like it, find something you do like. I don't put too much weight in the subscriber count, although it is a nice metric. It isn't something that would be nice to build. Get out my old sharpening stone. Let me see if I can scoot this back some more. Going live from my laptop. Oh, hey, there's Roar Tribe. I like her. What else? What else? I would show you more what I'm doing. I guess I can tilt it down some more. The tip of your knife is always going to get kind of dull first. But I've done some stuff like one thing I like to show people, and it's all you have to do to take the edge off your knife and ruin it or take the edge off is to come in contact with something harder than the edge. So if I take this knife and I tap it on the stone, what I did with this knife was there was a wasp in the window and I took care of it up against the glass and kind of rolled my edge. So Bring that edge back. Also, I like to have a really sharp point on my knife for digging out splinters, performing surgery. I've got a kind of hangnail. So what I'll do is I'll get it sharp and then I'll kind of come in behind the hangnail and trim it off. I will be at the Ozark Homesteading Conference coming up next month. If you are in the area or if you'd like to go to a good conference, come on by. I am contemplating, I don't know, we'll see, but there's also the Midwest Preparedness event coming up in Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. That is, I think, a week or two after the Homesteading Expo. I haven't decided if I'm going to go to that or not. A lot of it's going to depend on where I'm at with knives, working on knives and stuff. There we go. I need to get out my actual Japanese waterstones, my Shapton. There's a lot of things I need to do, but diamond's all right. I just prefer waterstones. Look at that. I don't get that with waterstones. So I'm pretty much done. Like, this is the thing. Stay on top of your sharpening of your knives. Touch it up every week. Use your knives. Keep them sharp. If you stay on top of it, doesn't take much time. Do you have any holy grail knives that you would like to own one day? Yes. I would love, I say that. I tell knife makers, I tell people like knife makers, a lot of people, I think there's a lot of reasons why people buy things, but I think for me, when it comes to something like custom knives, you're not buying out of necessity. You buy things based on three categories. You need things that you need, things that you want, and things that, what's the third category? Things that you need, things that you want, and some other category. I can't remember what it is. However, that's going to bother me. I can't think of it now. So we're obviously not selling to the need. You sell to the want, I guess. So for me, like if I can make knives, right? So I can make anything that I want to have. So the reason I would buy a knife is because I like the maker and I want to support what they do. Or I would buy it because I think it's a good investment and I think the price is going to go up. But like, there are knives that one could buy that will go up in value. But the problem with it is it's all arbitrary. It's all, you don't even know. So there was a knife company a while, like back when I started making knives. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people selling based on scarcity. It's like, oh, you can't get this and whatever. And I don't think you can buy knives and sell them for more than you paid for them sometimes. But I don't think that happens as often as people would like to think, or as the people selling them would like you to think, because a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. Now, with my stakeholder knives, I've had stakeholders sell their knives for 6 times what they paid for, or their position for 6 times what they paid for their position to begin with. There is a market, a demand for certain knives, but it's not as big as a lot of people would like you to think. So anyways, so back to my Holy Grail knife. It changes. I used to would have wanted a Jerry Fisk knife. I purchased I have a Jerry Fisk knife. I wouldn't. Yeah. I would like to have a Nick Wheeler Bowie, and Bowie, however you want to say it. I've never personally met Nick Wheeler, but he does phenomenal work, just amazing work. He's a very, very smart dude. He just kind of makes knives part-time, and I'll probably never own one. But if one, that would be one I would definitely consider purchasing. But like those knives, I don't care about a Bob Loveless knife. I like the Bob Loveless profile. I don't care for the whole, again, it kind of goes to, I think it kind of goes to, like, Bob Loveless has a whole group of collectors and a bunch of fanboys and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing with any of that type stuff is, like the Antique Roadshow, I've talked about this before, but you see it and somebody, oh, this piece is worth $30,000. And then they do like the Antique Roadshow 10 years later, and that same piece that was worth $30,000 is now worth like $5,000. So trends and values, popularities, there's a bell curve on all of it. Because that value is only worth that to when you have somebody that's willing to buy it. So I found an arrowhead years ago. I was out fishing and I found this arrowhead, and it was a beautiful arrowhead. And I had a friend that collected Indian artifacts, and I took it to him and said, "Hey man, what's this worth?" Like, he's like, "Oh, that, he gave me some inflated number. Like, that's worth like $9,000. And I'm like, "All right, well, I've got a heck of a deal for you, because I'd sell it to you for 500, or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I got enough in my collection. I'm not really." And it's like, okay, if it was really worth $9,000 or whatever number he said, you would pay a considerable amount, especially because if you could turn around and sell it for that, like, first of all, if it was really worth $9,000 and everybody wanted it, I would sell it for like $8,000, $8,500. But the fact of the matter is when it may be worth $8,000-9,000 to one person, if you knew the one collector that's just off his rocker and has more money than he's got sense, well, that's fine, but you got to know who he is. So, and then you got to sleep at night selling somebody something like that just because they wanted it. Do you have a high enough demand for your knives right now? That's a good question. I don't know. Obviously, I feel like my job as a maker is to build that demand. And part of just situations in life, I have not been able to build my brand like I would want to the last 3 years, or longer, 4. So is it where I want it to be right now? No. Nobody really knows what it's going to be like in 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or a year from now. I have a vision of what I would like my brand to be, but that requires like me to execute on that plan. And I know there's a lot of things I'd like to do that I'd never get done. Everything takes time, and just building our property here, building our house, building our shop, all of that has taken me away from building the brand. And then as I get to making knives more and stuff, so part of that, too is, I think, well, let's just say someone like Montana Knife Company, right? I feel like he has executed very well on building his brand. It is yet to be seen on whether or not he's going to be successful at that, right? So, like, there's so many businesses that appear successful that are not successful, and there's plenty of businesses that stand the test of time that maybe are not as successful. So I don't know. Yeah, it's moving forward. I want to build knives, but I also want to teach classes here on the property, because I enjoy that. I don't know what I can do to promote your knives. I don't know many knife enthusiasts, so the average guy doesn't realize the value of a really well-made knife. So, that's I appreciate when people, customers, friends, like, that's probably one of the most valuable things, is for people to share, like people that share the channel and talk to their friends about things. Like, that is where that's really valuable. And I think for a company to be really successful, that's what's required. So when other people start telling your story, or about your brand, or about your business, that is what, like, I can only, if I told one person, or if I told 100 person every day about MT Knives, then there's a limit of how many people I could reach. But when those people tell other people, then it's compounding. He created hype via, I can't read, pretend scarcity. Yeah. I feel that way. It's really hard because I don't want to talk bad about other people in the space. I definitely have. there's, I definitely, there's a lot of people that don't like what they do. And there's a lot of people who feel like, they have their opinions on, whatever. Um, and I have my opinions. But at the end of the day, um, so far he's been successful at building a business. And, it was kind of interesting. I seen a post where he was talking about the drop of their new folder, the second drop. And he's like, we really need your guys' support. Um, because that's just it. The more employees you have, the more building you have, the more tools you have, the more it costs just to stay afloat. So where everybody sees like a successful business and wow, like, oh, look at all this, money. If the cash flow stops, or even if the cash flow slows down, it's really easy to go up the creek, be up the creek without a paddle. So I do not desire, I in no way desire to do what Montana Knife Company has done. I'm happy staying a small business or a family business. If in many years from now it becomes something bigger, then fine. But right now, my family and we have far more work than we can keep up with. And, I guess I just want to be a good steward of what I have. And that requires a lot. It means I have to have time, not only for my business, but for my family. And, like if my priority was building this massive knife company and doing what MKC does, it would mean that I wouldn't be running. I wouldn't be spending time with my family. And there's a lot of things that I guess that's like, I was talking to my wife earlier, this last week or two about, setting goals, counting cost. And, no matter what type of goals you have, it requires that you put in the work and pay for that goal. Like it's not going to come. Anything worth doing is not going to be worth anything worth doing is not going to be easy, and it's going to require work, and it's going to require probably more work than you think. So count the cost, know what it's going to take, and then do the work. I was just looking. So, kind of back to the whole running thing. Let's see. See more of your progress. I probably can't see it on here. So, I guess, there you go. So, I mean, this is the running I've done in the last year, 542 miles. Last year, this was my train up to my half marathon. I ran my half marathon, and then I didn't do a whole lot. And then I started it again this year. And, the miles are up a lot higher this year because I'm training for a marathon instead of a half marathon. And if I showed you the last 6 years, you would see a lot more of that. It's running a business is a lot about the long haul and being able to consistently put in the effort. And yeah, small progress every day. Exactly. So yeah, that's anyways, back to like the whole grail knives. There's, I like quality. I can appreciate quality. Um, I like perfection. I also like the aesthetics, function. Um, so I would like to collect knives that are very high quality, aesthetically pleasing, and function. I would collect knives based on how well they function, how well they're made, and are they aesthetically pleasing. So there's another knife maker. Um, and the problem is like I know hundreds of knife makers, but there's probably there's thousands of knife makers out there. So I know there's a folding. I think I can't remember the guy's name, but it's like Sunfish Forge or something like that. A guy that makes some folding knives, makes some really nice knives. I wouldn't mind having one of his knives. Then there's well, there's another high end maker that I kind of want one of their knives, but then after like meeting them personally, I just kind of lost desire to own one of their knives. So like that's the funny thing is like I like to support businesses where I feel like the people um there's the part of it is like the knife, right? But then part of it too is like if that person is um not a person of character that I necessarily want to support, then like I'm not going to buy from them. So like I guess I do business a lot on however you'd say that. So um there's been times where I've bought stuff in the past and then I didn't care necessarily for the experience or something happened. And this happens all the time, right? Like people who are famous or people who, have fans, they go and they do something really stupid and they lose a lot of supporters. And it's no different in the knife industry. Like you could have a great product and be doing something really good, but if you do stupid stuff or if you do something that negatively impacts your brand, that's going to affect your sales. And um, I know that the same goes for myself. I can do something that's going to negatively affect my brand and all my customers by simply doing something stupid. Um, and sometimes it might not even be something I do. It could be something that somebody else does that I'm associated with. And so, there's, it's kind of funny because, like I hate that that's the way that it is with some stuff. But yeah, that's just life. It's not tree topping yet. So trying to think. Let's see. Any other grail knives? I like. I wouldn't mind a Chris Reeves knife. I think, um, like the Sabenza. It's just a classic design. Um, they're nicely made. I my knife collection, like I'm not like actively trying to build it. Now we're tree topping. Not out towards the tip though. So yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe a Sabenza. What what yeah, what type of knives would you what would you consider a grail knife? I'm trying to think. Let's see. Sure, there's probably some other ones. What I would think would I would like a really nice katana, um, like a real katana. One day I'll probably build one, but that would be cool. I never, I knew a guy who, I knew a black belt in karate who did all the mat cutting. I can't think of the name of the mats. You know, the rolled up mats, and they do the cutting competitions. And I was going to go with him because he had several swords, and he he actually we worked together a little bit on this one project. But I was going to go with him sometime and watch the guy who sharpened his swords. There was a guy from Japan who came and sharpened his swords, but I never made it to one of those sharpenings. Um, there is a Japanese sword thing in Chicago. It's the same weekend that I have another event every year, and I keep saying I'm going to go maybe next year, but I'd like to go to that event and see the swords. That's cool. What do you mean you had? You got rid of it, Scott? Always wanted a Norseman. Now, the Norseman is not like I don't I don't like that design. Um, the the newer design I kind of like the FJ or Fagel or whatever it's called. I think I picked up one. There was one at a there was a sword at a antique store in town that I almost bought 10, 15 years ago. The thing is, like, if I owned any of that stuff, it'd probably just sit in a safe or someplace. I thought it'd be cool when I had this shop done. I thought it'd be cool to have like an armor, like an armor room where like I had um, swords and knives and maybe other things, or a display case somewhere in my shop. But it didn't get. I didn't really build anything yet, and it's funny how small a space or how I don't know how big of a shop I would need to have enough space for everything. So right now, I still need to move my CO2 laser into the shop, and that bed is like, I think it's probably 4 by 7, 8 feet. It's big. It takes up a lot of space. I got to move that in here still. I need to move my surface grinder in the shop still. And right now my shop is basically full. I don't have a lot of stuff upstairs, but then it's like the stuff I put upstairs, I don't really want to put, I don't know. I thought about putting my laser upstairs, but then it's not, that's not as accessible as it probably should be for that item. So that's yeah. So this is 1,800 square foot and 2,200 if you count the upstairs or something like that. I don't know. If I had a shop twice this size, maybe. But then it's like, I don't need a shop, nor would I want to pay to heat and cool a shop that size. Let's see. Yeah. When do I expect to start classes? Well, I guess if there's big enough demand for it, like I would be pretty flexible with people who wanted to do a class. I need to just kind of put it on the calendar and make it happen. Part of the reason I haven't yet was because I really need to prioritize my stakeholder knives. And also like there's just a lot of stuff I need to get done here, or I'd like to get done before I have a class. I'd like to finish the bathroom. I'd like to, there's a lot of stuff. There's just a lot of stuff I need to get done. I could have a class without having all that stuff done, but yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to be sometime next year. I was hoping to do one this year. Part of it is like I've had people that want to take a class. Like there's a attorney friend of mine that wants to take a class. But then they're the type of person too, like they stay busy enough with everything else they're doing that unless like I put it on the calendar, they're probably not going to put it on the calendar. All right, let's see. When do you expect to start classes? I passed along a deal because they really didn't know much about them. They knows how to see it and since I knew about the store. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. There's that's, I think kind of part of collections are interesting because you can build a collection and then it can all get sold for pennies on the dollar. That's the kicker is like, well, kind of like my army trucks, like the deuce and a half, like you can find people that really want them and they're excited about it. They might pay $20,000, $30,000 for one. And then you find the people that are like, they wouldn't give you $1,000 or $2,000 for one. So like, yeah, I hate trying to price and sell things or, even buy things because it's easy to pay too much for something. It's hard to get your money back out of stuff when you want to. And like, that's so many things you buy. Like the only way to really like be sure that you're going to get your money out of something is if you, I think a lot of times if you just like take advantage of somebody and you buy something so cheap that anybody would buy it. So Yeah, whatever. All right, let's see. What time is it? 7:45. I was going to try to get a buddy to hop on here tonight with me. I'm gonna see if maybe next week will work because yeah, I figured it might be fun to get some people on to talk back and forth with, and we'll see. Welcome to, are we in August now? It's August, right? I don't even know. It's the 4th of June. Yep, August, right? Man, August, September, October, November, 4 months left of the year. Crazy. Crazy. This year has just flown by, and I'm fixing to get busy. Like I said, next month, beginning of next month, Ozark Homesteading Expo, week or two after Midwest Preparedness Kansas event. Jack's is November 11th down in Texas. And then like the year's basically gone. So it's still hot. Oh, I've got my marathon November 1st. And the month is going to fly, like the year's going to fly by. It goes fast. It goes really fast. So thank you guys for joining in. It was great talking to you guys. We'll see you next week. This has been Patrick with MT Knives. Stay sharp.